Hello and welcome to Threefold Herbal Healing. I'm Herbalist Leo. I help people who feel sick and tired of being sick and tired grow their health from the roots up. I hope you got a chance to listen to last week's video about seasonal allergies. I know it's very early in the season and you're not thinking about that yet. But I am all for being proactive, having the knowledge, starting to take the first step to prevent seasonal allergies and not wait for them to come to you. So last week in the video, I talked about what happens when pollen, which is basically airborne pathogens, meet the front line of the immune system, the mucus. Today, I will take a deep dive into the body and talk about the immune cells that live in the mucus, what we call the epithelium, on all the inner skin of the body, the epithelium. So in the lungs, in the stomach, in the gut, in the brain, those immune cells that are called mast cells are lining the epithelium everywhere that your body actually meets the environment. So the air you breathe meet your lungs, the food you eat meet your stomach, like that. And because they are so exposed to the outer world, that makes them very, very vulnerable to pathogens that come with the food we eat and the air we breathe. So those cells are called mast cells. Mast cell job is really to interface between the inner environment and the outer environment. They contain tiny sacs that store inflammatory immune messengers. When they are exposed to pathogens, the body creates something that is called immunoglobulin E, IgE antibodies. It's a type of immune cells. IgE works like a key to the castle. It's bind to the receptors on the membrane on the surface of the mast cell and open the doors. When the doors are open, immune messengers start to spill out into the blood and initiate the inflammatory response. Mast cells are all born in the bone marrow, and from there they spread all over the body. But they are not evenly spread. Instead, they are more concentrated in areas of the body that really interface with the outside world. So the skin have a lot of mast cell, respiratory tract, your lungs, your throat, your nose, the uterus, the bladder, and the brain. Although all mast cells are born equal, when they are born, they are the same. Their development differ due to the hood or the place where they live and what they meet throughout their lifespan. For example, we do know that mast cells of children who are exposed to secondary smoking, especially if they were younger, like infants and toddlers, are more sensitive and tend to open the doors and create inflammatory response much easily. So children that were exposed to secondary smoking in young age have more than double the chance of developing allergies. So who is this histamine that instigates the storm that is brewing in mast cells? Histamine is a natural amine, so it's an amino acid, a building block of protein. In the body, it is what brewed the storm. Specifically, it brewed the storm that is related to hay fever and to hive in response to airborne pathogens. So there is endogenous histamine, histamines that your body produces by itself, and there is exogenous histamine, histamine that your body ingests when you eat protein that started breaking down before you ate it. So we are talking, for example, on aged cheese, deli meat, fermented food, and alcohol. When histamine is released from the mast cell, it can dock to histamine receptors. There are 4 types of histamine receptors, and It's not very creative, but they call them H1, H2, H3, and H4. In seasonal allergies, the histamine binds to H1 receptors, triggering what we call seasonal allergies symptoms. Histamine receptor spreads all over the body. Therefore, you will find the symptoms all over the body. You will have skin, respiratory, nervous system, and cardiovascular system symptoms. So here is a list of the symptoms that you can expect, and different people have different combination of those symptoms. On the skins, you must see itching, hives, and swelling. In the respiratory system, you might see runny nose, nasal congestion, and increased mucus production. So you feel just, in your lung, you're stuffed, you're congested. In the nervous system, we see a lot of anxiety, insomnia, brain fog, and agitation. People feel nervous. They have a short, get mad really fast. Some people feel heart palpitation and elevated heart rate. So if you have any constellation of those symptoms every year at the same time of the year, you most likely are struggling with seasonal allergy. But there is one more factor to consider. Seasonal allergies are not accompanied by fever. If you have respiratory and nervous system symptoms accompanied by fever, then you're struggling with viral infection and not seasonal allergies. Antihistamine meds and herbs bind to H1 receptors and block them, and then the histamine can bind to H1 receptors. When they do that, they help reduce symptoms. So that's what antihistamines do. But what can you do to reduce your seasonal allergies symptoms, or even prevent maybe even the occurrence of seasonal allergies? So let's talk a little bit about it. So you want to reduce your histamine baseline. Each of us have a different tolerance to histamine. Some can be exposed to high amounts of histamine without developing any symptoms. Others are more sensitive and develop symptoms, even if they have exposure for a small amount of histamine in their system. If you know that you are prone to seasonal allergy, it might be wise to reduce histamine during allergy season. So in order to reduce the amount of histamine that your body is exposed to in allergy season, you want to avoid histamine-containing foods, such as deli meats, aged cheese, reheated leftover, and this is really hard because then you have to cook every day. So don't eat leftover food, fermented food, and alcohol. The other way to do it is also to stabilize your muscle. Lifestyle is crucial, but you need some supplement that can support you stabilized muscles. So vitamin C is a mast cell stabilizer. It increases the integrity of the cell membrane. So the cells have less tendency to open those doors. That's one thing it does. And also it supports the breakdown of histamine in the body. So it reduces histamine in your body, reducing the symptoms. Quercetin is another compound that stabilizes mast cell. It's blocks some of the enzymes that are involved in the cascade of activating the histamine release and increase the integrity of the mast cells membrane again, holding it more together, really reducing the tendency to open the doors and let all this histamine out. It also influences the genes that control mast cells behavior and reduce the expression of pro-inflammatory mediator. Another thing you can do is to reduce the chances of inflammation all over the body. So when you reduce inflammation, you reduce also the inflammation that is caused by seasonal allergies. So you want to take omega-3 fatty acids um, daily. It can really buffer the inflammatory response. We know that some herbs can stabilize mast cells, but dried herbs contain histamine. So you want to really progress with cautious. You want to start slow, you want to start in small amounts, and you want to absorb your body and see if it's support you or it's actually increase your symptoms. Some of the herbs you want to think about are tulsi, hibiscus, nettle, and ragweed. Another herb that you might want to consider is peach leaves. It's funny that spring is also the time where the leaves of peach are coming. Peach leaves fresh from the tree, because peach leaves don't really dry very well. They get black before they get dry. But peach leaves can actually help cool and soothe inflammatory fire. They are anti-inflammatory and they are cooling to the system, so they can really help in the spring. So that's about explaining the mechanism of seasonal allergies. In the next two weeks, I'm going to follow up with important lifestyles that can change and stabilize mast cell, make a real change in your seasonal allergies. Next week, I will talk about the immune and brain connection and how reducing stress and getting a good night's sleep can help stabilize your mast cells. The following week, I will explain how the gut microbiome affects your mast cells, how you can support your microbiome and let your microbiome do the work and stabilize your mast cells. But that is that for this week. I hope it's beneficial, and I would love to hear from you more about your questions and your comments and what you think about what you just heard. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Let me know what you think and have a good week. Bye.